Welcome back to the channel, guys. Marshall here. Today is a big day for the build. My Frontrunner front over the cab roof rack finally came in, so just want to kind of take you guys through what's in the box. I'm going to do a quick unboxing of it, get ready to get it installed. It's actually one of the, I think, last nice days that we're going to have for the next week or so. So it's about 45-50 degrees out right now, nice and sunny. So I'm hoping I can get make some decent headway on the install. But yeah, let's take a look in the box real quick, see what we get. And after that, it's time to start drilling on the hardtop. All right, so I got in the box for the most part. Kind of try to skip past some of the boring stuff because the way the Frontrunner packs their stuff, it's bomb-proof. So I spent about 15 minutes unraveling plastic wrap, bubble wrap, that kind of stuff. I got the kind of the base mounting portions out. The rack is still in the box, so I think that's going to be the next step, is to kind of get that laid out and assembled. It's a tall kind of mount. So I'm hoping that it meshes well with the Frontrunner rack that I already have on the RSI Smart Cap on the Jeep. So yeah, let's get this thing pulled out of the box and kind of laid out, and yeah, I'll kind of give you guys a quick glimpse of what it looks like assembled, and then we'll start the actual install. All right, so here's kind of the foot kit that I mentioned. So basically these are going to be kind of your backbone, if you will. These are where the rear portion of the rack is going to mount to on the hard top. So from what I understood, kind of just a quick look at the instructions, there's going to be, this is where it's going to be drilled through the actual hard top on both sides. So it looks like on pretty much on four corners. And then the feet that were on the other package are going to attach to the underside of the hard top, and they're going to bolt into the roll bars inside of the Jeep itself. So these are going to mount up on the front cowls. And those are going to attach to these, which are essentially the front supports for the roof rack. So the front part of the roof rack is more or less floating. It attaches, I believe it's going to be to these here at the top. Obviously it's going to run down, be supported by this this beam, and then it's going to bolt into these, which are bolted onto the cowls at, I think, 4 points. So looks like a really sturdy setup. I'm excited to kind of see how it turns out in actual execution. All right, so here's the rack roughly laying out. For anyone who's dealt with Frontrunner products before, this is kind of my, I guess, second rodeo with them. I had them on a previous vehicle. Super easy to put together. These things are super beefy, great quality. I absolutely love Frontrunner products. So, but yeah, I mean, you can see the two side channels essentially that the racks are going to tap into, and I mean, literally, I mean, I'll just use a rubber mallet, just kind of basically you wedge it in there one piece at a time, make sure it's evenly spaced, and it secures just with hardware through the hole, and then comes up into the kind of the nylock nut that's basically locked into place here inside of each slat. So yeah, I'll get it put together. My application is going to be a little bit different. I have some kind of unique things going up there. Finally going to be able to add my solar panels. So I kind of have kind of a cobbled together underslung solar panel slide that I'm going to try to fit to see if it works. I used a couple of different components, one of which was another Frontrunner product, their under rack table slide system. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see how it turns out. So I'll get this kind of tapped into place, get the hardware tightened down, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'll finally be able to see how the solar panels fit.
My setup will take a bit more prep than your typical installation of Frontrunner components. My primary use for this rack is going to be for the storage of spare fuel, water, and miscellaneous weatherproofed cargo while out on trips. Along with that, I had been wanting to implement solar for some time, and after months of researching how best to go about it, and after having come across a couple of videos with some great ideas out of Australia, I began hunting for components of my own. My Jeep has been fully wired for solar for months now, and I've successfully tested my panels before. Now, it's just a matter of getting them mounted on the roof. For those of you that are interested, I'll be sure to link the components that I went with below. I've done a fair bit of custom work, but I've never done a sight unseen project quite like this before. I've taken measurements dozens and dozens of times, and everything fits on paper, but the moment of truth is coming. To top it all off, I'll be adding my final 2 side-firing LED lights below the rack, along with a handful of amber and red marker lights along the perimeter of the rack. I can't wait to see how it all turns out.
Okay, so that did take a little bit longer than expected. I had issues with one of the bolts, where I actually almost kind of stripped out one of the nylock nuts because I was an idiot and didn't have the slat properly lined up before I started trying to tighten it. So luckily I was just hand tightening it, so I didn't really do too much damage, and I was actually able to slot it in place and kind of send it home with the impact. So small impact, but light torque. But anyway, yep, so now I'm going to test fit the solar panels. Again, this is kind of unconventional for, I guess, an installation video on this rack. I don't know if too many people do this, but I mean, I'll bring you guys along, and we'll see how it works out. Fingers crossed.
Despite all of the measurements that I had made, there was definitely still a bit of trial and error going on here. I lightly torqued down the repurposed table slide to get a feel for centering the panels beneath the rack. As far as the slide itself goes, I drilled out the table slide and bolted a set of sealed bearing, heavy-duty drawer slides to the inside of the channel, and I then drilled out the side of the solar panels and bolted the other half of the drawer slides on. I decided on 2 Renogy 100-watt monocrystalline panels, which I then bolted together in the middle to create a single, rigid panel, which I then wired in parallel. In the test that I conducted in indirect sunlight, I managed to pull around 7 or so amps. Not too bad at all if you ask me, and the setup will make a great combination for my dual battery system with 130 amp hours on board. Being self-sufficient on energy will go a long way towards keeping my battery topped off when using my lighting at camp, running my 95-liter dual-zone fridge, and keeping my electronic devices topped off without ever having to start my engine.
All right, here is my proof of concept, if you will, of the underslung solar panels. So not too bad for, I think, a second try on the measurements. A little gap on the left, but I'll close that up to make sure that the drawer slide is riding on the bearings here. But it works. I think it works pretty good. I'm gonna have to add some trim to the top to kind of keep it from clacking like that, but try to see if I can do this with one hand. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, it's fairly smooth. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna add a rubber bumper here, I think, because I'm gonna try and use the same lock that Frontrunner gives you for the table. It's basically just kind of a fold down locking system. So I'm gonna need to add a rubber bumper here, basically, so that's kind of butted up against it, because there's obviously a little bit of space there. It looks like maybe about, I don't know, 4 to 5 inches. But yeah, not too bad. I'm excited to get this mounted up and wired up. Okay, so day 2, now kind of working on this project. I officially have a working solar slide, so I'm pretty stoked about that. I had to go to the hardware store, grab a couple things. You know, I did a little bit in the garage last night after I lost light outside. But for now, everything is up and working. The lock works. Everything is nice and tight. There's minimal shaking. I added some D-rubber to the topmost parts of the slide itself, kind of on the raised portions of the solar panels, not covering the glass. So that keeps you from making contact with the bottom side of the rack. And I tested it, kind of under weight, right side up. And it slides, I don't want to say easily, but it slides with one hand. I'm able to get it in and out sufficiently. So really stoked about it. So I think today, hopefully I'm going to be able to get the roof drilled on the Gladiator and actually get this thing mounted up.
So overall, the instructions are pretty straightforward. I did a couple things differently, as you may be able to see in the video. But overall, I pretty much followed their outline. So basically, you're going to pop the trim on the inside of the Jeep. You're going to have to drop the speaker box down a little bit to kind of gain clearance, particularly so you can kind of hit the two frontmost portions of the backbone. Once you make that clearance, you can go ahead and slide the brackets up into place, and then I actually just use those as a template with a center punch. And then I was actually just able to kind of drill a marker hole through that with the Dremel. And after that, that's when the real fun started. So this is one of the spots where I actually did deviate from the instructions a little bit. So the instructions called for a 22mm hole saw to make these holes. I had a 7/8 inch one, which is just over 22mm, and I made a cardboard template, and it was just way too big, I thought, for the aluminum spacers that were supposed to sit in it. There was just way too much wiggle room, and I just wasn't comfortable with it, so I decided to stick with my step bit, and I used the 13/16.
Alright, so I may have to call it quits here for the night. Got as far as I could, had a couple hiccups here and there, mostly just kind of small things, bolts hard to reach, that sort of thing. Dropped a couple washers, etc. So, typical wrench and stuff, but I got pretty much all the supports in place. So the spines, if you will, the backbone, not actually sure what they're called, but the base mounts are in place. These things are pretty solid. They're pretty dang even on both sides. I think they're within about 1/8 of an inch, so I'm happy about that. I got the first front support in place here. It actually kind of, as I was hoping / expected, but it looks like it did work with my Baja Designs dual cube kind of mount, so I was able to just overlay that on top without any issue. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I may try to get the rack up tonight, but it's getting pretty dark out, so I mean, there's really not going to be much opportunity to take any pictures. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish this up tomorrow. It's turning into a 3-day project. Luckily, it's a fairly nice weekend. Hopefully the weather holds out tomorrow, and I'll be able to get some kind of impressions and walk around and some pictures in, hopefully. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back to day 3 of what is now, I don't know, I'm dubbing it the world's longest roof rack install. So it hasn't been that bad, honestly, so far, but there's just been a couple things here and there that have been holding it up, and I've had limited hours each day, so I'm just kind of working on it as I can. But it's a pretty nice day out right now, so I should be able to get it finished up today. It's definitely chilly out, though. It's in the 20s right now, and we got some rain and snow kind of last night, so I actually just had to clear some ice out of one of the button head screws. I was going to make some quick adjustments to the front supports before I put the rack up there, just to make sure everything's nice and snug. So that's what I'm going to do real quick, and then yeah, we're going to lift this thing up and get it into position and get it kind of in place loosely and get it centered. right, so I'm gonna try to show you guys just how tight the tolerance is. You can see where the backbone is on it. It's, you can't see up in there, but I mean it's within 1/8 of an inch on both sides. I actually had to kind of pull the steel out to get it to flex in order for the hardware to drop down in there. So it's on though, and it works, and it's centered, and I'm stoked. So I'll keep working on it. I'm gonna start getting hardware tightened down, things bolted into place, and yeah, then we'll kind of do a walk around of the finished product and hopefully see it in action. All right, so it's up. I have it fastened into place just really lightly on all 4 corners, just so it's not going to fall off the top of the Jeep pretty much. So we're going to try to slide out. I hope it works. I hope it works. That's all I'm saying. Let's give it a shot. So it is a little tight, a little tough to get out, but I think I can work around that. I can figure something out for that. There's a little dip in the middle too. I'm definitely gonna try to reinforce that. I mean, because right now I just have it bolted together in the middle, and they're just aluminum panels. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of support there, but no, I think that works great, honestly. I mean, I'm probably getting, say, at least 90% exposure to the panels. There's a little bit kind of stuck behind the front slat there, but yeah, all in all, I'm pretty dang happy. All right, yeah, let's finish getting this bolted down, and I think I'm gonna get out of the cold. Is on. Everything looks good. Super tight tolerances. Again, I think I mentioned that when I was pointing out just how tight the sides of the solar panel slide were to the rear kind of mounting feet for the rack itself, but everything works, nothing broke, so that's always a good start. I got my side LEDs in place. I actually ended up using one of the extra receptacles, kind of holes if you will, on the solar slide itself. You can see there's quite a few, so who knows, I might actually stash some other stuff up there too, but that seemed like the best place for that, so I'll leave that there for now. They're a little bit inboard of the rear ones. You can see these ones are a little bit further out, so but I think I'm gonna get good coverage either way. So yeah, I'll be wiring those up before too long. Those will go to my S-Pod that's under the hood. But I'm gonna do all the wiring on this at the same time. So I think I mentioned the marker lights too, so I'm gonna have, I haven't really decided yet. I think I have about 12 of them. I bought a couple extras in case. They were pretty cheap. They were on sale on Amazon. So, but they're just about 3-inch wide, I think, marker lights. So I'll probably have two amber here, maybe 2 amber here. Then on the rear racks, I plan on having at least 2 red. And these are all going to be switched on the S-Pod as well, just on a marker light switch, just for poor weather, or it basically just to show, you know, that my vehicle is a little bit taller and the rack makes it a tiny bit wider, I guess, as well. So just a safety thing, really. And let's be honest, who doesn't like more lights? So there's always that. But yeah, everything looks good. I think it's all buttoned up. Everything's tightened down. I mean, I can shake the vehicle with this rack now. So it's rock solid. I'm really excited. And once I get the jerry can mounts in, I have all my fuel jerry cans from a previous build. I'm going to purchase 2 of the 5-gallon water jerrys as well. So I'm going to have 10 gallons of spare fuel and 10 gallons of spare water up here, again, along with the solar panels. And then potentially up front here, I'll have some type, maybe like a small waterproof, like a rifle case or something like that, just to have some extra storage. So yeah, so this is definitely still in development, but I mean, this is the core of it. This is essentially the finished core of the build. I have suspension planned as well, but that won't be for a little while yet. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to get out and use it. All right, so that's it, guys. The rack is in place, fully torqued down, all bolted in place. Everything's functioning good. I took it out for a test drive. There's a little bit of whistling going on, so I'm gonna have to try to figure out something about that. Maybe put something at the leading edge to try and break up the wind. But yeah, I'm pleased with how it functions. The solar slide worked out good, and I think it's going to be a great platform for, again, kind of the liquids that I'm going to put up there, and just that extra kind of storage space. So yeah, thanks for checking the video out, guys. If you haven't already and you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe, click the bell, so you get notified when I drop new videos. Be sure to like this one if you liked it. If you hated it, that's fine. Thumbs down. But yeah, more stuff to come. And I'm hoping to get another trip in within the next couple weeks. I'm thinking about heading out to the Smokies for several days, or maybe hitting the Tennessee portion of the Trans-America Trail. And I also plan on going to more Expo up in Missouri next week, up in Springfield, I believe it is, Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. So that should be a good time. It looks like there's going to be a lot of good displays there and good booths. So yeah, if you're up there and you see this guy sitting out in the parking lot, and I'm not cool enough to be to be in the venue, but yeah, be sure to stop by, say hey. I'd love to meet you guys, talk to you if you're out there. So again, thanks for stopping by, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video.